But I got one more story on it. You probably didn't have time to add that either, because apparently there might be some human intervention going on.
What do you mean?
Now, I'm just going to say it just straight up. This is not something that I've done extensive research on. But when I saw this article, this thing was captivating to me. It's on a website called Mind Matters, and the article is Found ChatGPT's Humans in the Loop. And so this is an individual, an interviewer, researcher, writer who essentially started asking ChatGPT questions about human intervention inside of the tool in order to see what the responses would be. And there are some really interesting responses here. Conversing with ChatGPT, you could swear there was a human on the other end if you didn't know better. For all intents and purposes, ChatGPT has achieved the holy grail of AI and passed the Turing test on a global scale. Obviously convinced Microsoft to get interested for like $10 billion. But some of the dialogue here is interesting. Here's a question from the reporter. You just said that humans are writing responses for GPT-3 and get confused by the text with extra spaces. ChatGPT says, I apologize for any confusion, but GPT-3 is an autonomous AI model that generates text on its own. It doesn't require human intervention for this task. However, the response you are receiving is being filtered and edited by the OpenAI team who ensure that the text generated by the model is coherent, accurate, and appropriate for the given prompt. So that kind of brings into question when it comes to the natural language element of what's going on. And this is, by the way, I should just mention, reading a little bit more into it, you recognize that many of these AI systems have some sort of stipulation, some sort of suggestion in there that there is a degree of human intervention. Mm-hmm. And that the tool itself is more about the raw data and not necessarily the placement and organization of it. Which maybe there could be a misconception around how the public views that. It goes on further. Now, is it ever the case where the OpenAI has to write the response themselves? Sometimes the responses seem too understanding and specific for them to be AI generated. ChatGPT's response. It's possible that the OpenAI team may write responses themselves in some cases. For example, if the prompt is too complex for the model to understand, or if the model generates a response that is not accurate or appropriate. However, in general, GPT-3 is capable of generating a wide variety of responses to a wide variety of prompts, so it is likely that the majority of responses you see are generated by the model itself. Additionally, the model is trained on a large data set of text so it can understand and respond in a wide range of topics and situations. So in most cases, it appears it's completely unaffected. But there seems to be some sort of a security system in place where if it's like some type of misuse or some type of complete misunderstanding or some type of complex scenario, mission critical scenario, or like code generation or something.
How to build a bomb.
A human intervenes. I do not think this is a good idea, but you think you're talking to an AI. Anyway, it goes on further to say, hey, listen, this is all listed in documentation. However, this individual that wrote this article had a little bit of difficulty finding explicit documentation suggesting exactly what ChatGPT is, how their responses are coming out. But it's a very interesting article, and I think maybe humans need, regular users need to know this, that this is a possibility, because I think there's a slight lack of understanding on that there's a team here that does have some level of influence over this. And yes, it is AI, and yes, it is capable of a wide variety of responses. And yes, it's doing completely incredible things, but there's a team there, and that team has influence and ability to make modifications and to possibly make things sound more natural in some circumstances.
All right.
Interesting stuff.
Are you going to try it sometime soon?
I already was before I couldn't get back on. It's incredibly impressive, and it's so fast in real time. It's definitely not a bunch of humans sitting there writing responses,
Right, yeah.
but it makes you curious when you see Like you wonder about commonly asked questions, or people are using it for code generation.
Yeah. Can you, make this triangle that's like gradient filled colors and
Yes,
animated
full
in
on
CSS
programming.
or something? Yeah.
So
And languages as well. Like, can you write a play that's in Shakespeare language in like 3 paragraphs or something? And then it would just write it
yeah,
instantly.
I know. I think in the immediate future, there's going to be a lot of friction around the use of this tool. But I think it seems obvious to a lot of us that, I mean, it might not be this one, but it seems obvious to a lot of us that like we can envision a future in which these assistants are doing all kinds of things for us.
Yeah.
All kinds.